You're watching South Asia Newsline and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 13th of May. PM Modi calls Operation Sindoor as new normal, makes surprise visit to S-400 base. Awami League barred from contesting elections in Bangladesh. And Sri Lankans celebrate Vaishak Day with dazzling lights and lavish feast. And now for all the details. Operation Sindoor has marked a new chapter in India's zero-tolerance policy against terrorism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, addressing the nation on Monday, called it a new normal in dealing with Pakistan, vowing to strike decisively at terror hideouts. On Tuesday, he made a surprise visit to Adampur Air Base, underscoring India's military resolve. We have a report.
As India achieved a decisive victory in its military action under Operation Sindoor, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday, in a surprise visit, arrived at Forward Air Base Adampur, which houses S-400 air defence system used in India's military action. Reports suggest Prime Minister Modi was briefed about the actions taken during the days of hostilities against Pakistani forces. Earlier on Monday, the Indian Prime Minister, in a televised address to the nation, had called the Operation Sindoor a new normal with Pakistan as he warned Islamabad to get rid of its terrorist infrastructure if it wants to be saved. He said the April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack had shocked the entire nation, following which Indian forces were given full freedom to wipe out terrorists at time of their choosing. Talking about Operation Sindoor, PM Modi said Indian strikes destroyed the universities of terrorism, neutralizing more than 100 terrorists who have long evaded justice. Taking dig at Pakistan, he said instead of supporting New Delhi's fight against terrorism, Islamabad chose to retaliate, only to suffer losses they have never imagined across Pakistani air bases in the Indian action. Highlighting India's policy towards terrorism, Prime Minister said India will respond decisively to any terrorist attack on its terms, adding that no distinction will be made between governments sponsoring terrorism and terrorist masterminds. PM Modi said India will not tolerate nuclear blackmails from its adversary, striking precisely at terrorist hideouts. Dismissing any third-party involvement in truce between India and Pakistan, PM Modi said it was Indian action on Pakistani military installations which led to Pakistan DGMO seeking a truce. Taking a veiled dig at US President Donald Trump for mediation, Prime Minister said talks will only happen with Pakistan on its illegal occupation of POJK.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर ने आतंक के खिलाफ लड़ाई में एक नई लकीर खींच दी है, एक नया पैमाना, न्यू नॉर्मल तय कर दिया है। पहला, भारत पर आतंकी हमला हुआ तो मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया जाएगा। हम अपने तरीके से, अपनी शर्तों पर जवाब देकर रहेंगे। हर उस जगह जाकर कठोर कार्रवाई करेंगे जहां से आतंक की जड़ें निकलती हैं। दूसरा, कोई भी न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल भारत नहीं सहेगा। न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल की आड़ में पनप रहे आतंकी ठिकानों पर भारत सटीक और निर्णायक प्रहार करेगा। तीसरा, हम आतंक की सरपरस्त सरकार और आतंक के आकाओं को अलग अलग नहीं देखेंगे।
Meanwhile, India's Director General of Military Operations, Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, held talks with his Pakistani counterpart on Monday evening to discuss modalities reached between the two sides. While talks were in progress, drone intrusions from Pakistan were again reported in Jammu and Kashmir and were countered by Indian forces. In a separate incident on Tuesday, in Kashmir's Shopian, Indian forces launched an anti-terror operation based on intelligence input, neutralizing 3 terrorists in a fierce firefight. The operation was still ongoing till last reports came in.
And as India and Pakistan halted military action across the borders, residents in Pakistan's Lahore and capital Islamabad have welcomed the fragile truce between the two countries. Residents in Lahore said the truce was a positive development, but they were hopeful it would lead to peace talks. Echoing a similar sentiment, residents in Islamabad termed the understanding reached between New Delhi and Islamabad as crucial, adding that both countries should come to negotiation table and work towards resolving their issues. Tension heightened after terrorists affiliated to a proxy of Pakistan-based terror outfit killed 26 men in India's Pahalgam. In the aftermath of the attack, India launched military strikes at terror outfits across Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, killing more than 100 terrorists. Escalating tensions further, Pakistani forces targeted civilian and military infrastructure, which was met with Indian retaliation. Indian forces in retaliatory strikes targeted multiple Pakistani military installations from southern Karachi city to F-16 air base in Sargodha. The attacks also destroyed air defense systems in Lahore and Pakistan military base Noor Khan, which is in close proximity to Pakistani capital.
मुज़ाकरात पे आ गए तो अच्छी बात है, लेकिन ये जो जंग बंदी की है, इन्होंने बंदे मारे हैं, ये इतना नुकसान उठाकर जो आए हैं, इस बात पे पहले मुतफ़िक हो जाते, अपनी अच्छी बैठ के मुज़ाकरात कर लेते तो ये बेहतर हो जाता, नुकसान भी ना होता और ये काम भी हो जाता.
And activist Amjad Ayub Mirza has warned that Pakistan will surely again fuel unrest to derail peace and progress in Jammu and Kashmir. He claimed terror camps in POJK have not vanished but relocated. A report.
Acknowledging recent Indian military strikes against terror camps in Pakistan and POJK, exiled Kashmiri political activist Amjad Ayub Mirza has warned that terrorist camps in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir still remain operational and have been relocated to evade Indian surveillance. He claimed Pakistan continues to misuse POJK, legally Indian territory, for anti-India activities. Once the pressure eases, terrorists will regroup, he said, urging India to remain vigilant and reassess its approach toward Pakistan.
जब तक पाकिस्तान कायम है, ये दहशतगर्दी कश्मीर में ख़त्म नहीं होगी. अभी इन्होंने आगे पीछे कर दिए, जैसे ही थोड़ा सा बादल छटेंगे, इनको इकट्ठा कर लेंगे और ये दरअंदाजी फिर होगी. ये फिर होगी. मैं कहता हूँ ये कुरान सर पे उठा के ले आए कि जी हम अब दरअंदाजी नहीं करेंगे, मैं इनको मानने के लिए तैयार नहीं हूँ. ये झूठे कुरान उठाने वाली कौम है, ये झूठी कस्में खाने वाली कौम है. लिहाजा हमें रिविजिट करना पड़ेगा अपनी सारी पॉलिसी को विज़ पाकिस्तान.
Praising India's development efforts, like the Chenab Bridge, G20 Summit and Smart City Mission, he said Pakistan wants to undo the progress in Kashmir by fueling unrest and enabling terror recruitment.
तरक्की को बर्बाद करना चाहता है पाकिस्तान. पाकिस्तान कश्मीरियों को बर्बाद देखना चाहता है. पाकिस्तान वही चाहता है कि हड़ताल कैलेंडर चले ताकि कश्मीरी कमाई ना कर सके, अपना रोजगार ना कमा सके, भूखा रहे, ताकि उसके लिए एक ग्राउंड तैयार रहे हर वक्त जहादियों को रिक्रूट करने के लिए. और इल्जाम इंडिया पे लगाएं कि जी देखो इंडिया की वजह से यहाँ हड़ताल हो रही है, इंडिया की वजह से ये हो रहा है, हालांकि सब कुछ पाकिस्तान की वजह से हो रहा है.
Mirza urged a full rethink of India's Pakistan policy and said until POJK and Gilgit-Baltistan are not integrated into India, the menace of terrorism will persist.
Moving on, the Trump administration's decision to end temporary protected status for approximately 11,000 Afghan nationals in the US has sparked widespread criticism from refugee advocates. US Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem has announced that the protected status will expire on May 20, with termination effective July 12, citing alleged improvements in Afghanistan's security and economic stability. Noaim stated that a recent assessment found Afghanistan no longer meets TPS criteria, adding that some TPS holders are under review for fraud and threats to public safety. President of Rights Group Afghan Evac, Sean Van Diver, condemned the move as politically driven. He emphasized ongoing Taliban control with no functional asylum system and rampant human rights abuses and severe restrictions on women and minorities make returning unsafe. He called it a betrayal of Afghans who supported US forces and rebuilt lives in America after fleeing Taliban persecution post-2021. Rights groups warned deportations could endanger lives, contradicting US commitments to allies. And Bangladesh Election Commission has suspended the registration of the ousted PM Sheikh Hasina's Awami League, barring the country's longest ruling party from contesting future elections. The move follows a ban by the interim government of Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus on all Awami League activities under the Anti-Terrorism Act, citing national security threats and an ongoing war crimes investigation against top party leaders over the deaths of hundreds of protesters. Election Commission Secretary Akhtar Ahmed said the decision was made after the Home Ministry's directive effectively disqualifying the Awami League. Sheikh Hasina, the ousted Prime Minister, credited with economic growth but accused of authoritarianism and human rights abuses, fled to India in August 2024 after violent protests. Her fourth consecutive term, won in a boycotted election, was marked by widespread unrest that began with student protest over public job quotas and escalated into the worst political violence since 1971. Yunus, who leads the interim government, has vowed reforms and said national elections may be delayed until 2026. While Khaleda Zia's BNP demands early polls, the student-led National Citizen Party insists elections follow structural reforms. Founded in 1949 and hailed for leading the 1971 Liberation War, the Awami League now faces its most serious political crisis in decades. Moving on, the streets of Colombo came alive with thousands of devotees gathered to celebrate week-long Vesak Day on Monday, Sri Lanka's most revered Buddhist festival. The festival commemorates the three pivotal movements in the life of Buddha: his birth, enlightenment and death. Colombo's streets and temples erupted in a kaleidoscope of colors with towering pandals illustrating Buddha's teachings, lanterns aglow and twinkling lights that transformed the city into a dazzling spectacle. Devotees were also seen lighting oil lamps at temples, symbolizing the Buddha's enlightenment and spreading light and wisdom.
Here to see Vesak, and it's a lovely experience because we feel it's a feeling of being with everybody around who comes from all parts of the country, and here it's a smell, what you see, what you feel, it's a lot from your heart. So it's a lovely experience, and I think this Vesak person is something very unique to Sri Lanka.
More than 8,500 free food and drink stalls were also set up island-wide to cater to devotees, with the largest stall at Colombo's Independence Square anticipated to serve 35,000 people with complimentary meals and ice cream over a 24-hour period. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.